Hey everyone, welcome back to the Unleashing Potentials podcast. My name is Bernadette Desir. I'm your host. I want to thank you so much for taking this time to tune in, to listen to what I have to say, what I have to offer you. And in return, I truly do hope to hear from you and to learn from you as well. Thank you again for tuning in. So I want to start this episode with some announcement that I have because I want to keep you guys in the loop of what's happening, whether it's in the podcast community or personally, what's happening. So from now on, I'll be recording new episodes on Wednesdays. It used to be on Mondays that I do it, but I choose to do it on Wednesday. Why? I like Wednesdays. By Wednesday, I'm sort of in the flow of the week. So that's why. Also, don't forget to join the podcast Facebook page just to tune into different things that are happening and what I'm up to. Also, don't forget to also check out the YouTube channel that is under the podcast name, the Unleashing Potentials Podcast. On that channel, there are so many other things that I do aside from podcasting or just the daily stuff. I share tutorials there of arts and painting, sometimes cooking, just other fun stuff that I would not otherwise always share on the podcast here. Also, I have an art page, an art group. It's on Facebook. It's called Poetry and Art Lovers. If you're into art, if you're not into art, I do urge you to still join because on there I do painting tutorials and other art tutorials. If you want to stay up with that, you go ahead and check it out. And also, I'm looking for special guests or, just people to come forth to share their stories or what they're passionate about, what they're doing in the community. If you're interested, don't be shy. Don't be scared to reach out to me. And I want to make sure your story, your voice get heard, not just by me or those or that are in your circle, but by many other people. So if you have anything you want to share, please let me know. Here's what's cool and different about my podcast is that I let special guests pick their own topics to talk about. All right, you guys. So let's dive straight to this episode because there's so much that I want to unpack for you guys. As you can see, this is part 1. I'm going to be talking about shame. Maybe you've heard of that word. Maybe you've felt shame, but I want to go in depth, in details, so you kind of hear, understand, and kind of feel exactly what I'm talking about. I am so excited to talk about this topic. Not only is it important, but it is a silent killer. Shame. I leave it just at that. I'm not going to add anything else to the few part series that I'm going to be doing on shame because I think shame alone is enough. So, what is shame? Brené Brown describes shame this way. Shame is a intensely painful feeling or experience of believing we are flawed and therefore unworthy of acceptance and belonging. Wow. I'm going to give you some examples of shame that Brené Brown did in a research with some participants. This is from her book. I thought it was just me, but it wasn't. So, according to the studies and research that she did on many different participants, her quest was how these people define shame. So, here are some examples. Shame is that feeling in the pit of your stomach that is dark and hurts like hell. You can't talk about it and can't articulate how bad it feels because then everyone would know your dirty little secrets. Shame is being rejected. Also, shame is when you work hard to show the world what it wants to see. Shame happens when your mask is pulled off and the unlikable parts of you are seen. It feels unbearable to see. Shame is feeling like an outsider, not belonging. Shame is hating yourself and understanding why other people hate you too. I think it's about self-loathing. Another participant says, shame is like a prison, but a prison that you deserve to be in because something's wrong with you. Shame is being exposed the flawed parts of yourself that you want to hide from everyone or revealed. Shame is such a intense emotions, as you can see from this study, what participants, just a few of them, had to share. Wow. And what I've learned is that it hurts to feel shame. It hurts to accept change and shame at the same time. And shame is something that's so hard to talk about, you guys. I can't begin to describe or always put it into proper words for you to understand. But when it comes to shame, it is the dark shadow aspects of ourselves that we suppress. And every time it tries to surface, we push it down over and over and over. It could be decades, months, or throughout our lives. We are in constant panic and triggering ourselves, um, just to suppress and hurry to hide the parts of ourselves that are so authentically beautiful. We hide that. We hide it, and we don't always think that we are good. We don't always think that we can be good for anybody, let alone ourselves, right? And how does shame start to begin with? Because I believe we come into this world, as you can see, babies are very cute and innocent. And I believe shame it's a work in progress. All right, let's put it that way. And shame is something that I believe is thought. It's not something we're born with. And it all starts in our childhood. It can even start from generations. It can even start with our parents, our communities, families, friends, wherever we were raised. It could be culture, country. It could be lots of many different things. But I'm going to unpack it slowly so you can kind of see what I mean when I say that it starts in our childhood, right? For example, growing up, you were told by your friends, by parents, how much of a screw up you were. And you never did anything right. No matter how hard you tried, no matter how much you did, it was not enough. You didn't do it quick enough. You didn't do it well enough. So, therefore, you're not good enough. And shame can also comes with the feeling of being humiliated as a child, as an adult, and especially when it happens in front of people, right? And as kids, we believe what we're told to be true, even though it's not. And maybe shame started as you were transitioning through different stages in your life, whether it was in school. Maybe you were bullied at school. Maybe your teacher or teachers made fun of you or talked to you a certain way that triggered something so raw and so fragile for you. Maybe you didn't do well in school because of that. Whether you believe that you were not good enough, that you were not going to pass a certain grade, whether it's university, like shame doesn't stop when we become adults. It actually gets worse, you guys, believe it or not. How and why shame impacts us. What does it do to us? Let me tell you, shame can destroy so many people. Shame can eat at you until there's nothing left, until there's nothing left to hide, until there's nothing left to say, or until you don't say anything at all, that you're muted. It's a silent, loud, obnoxious battle that we face, and it hurts and it kills and it destroys so badly. It does. So shame, I believe, can impact us mentally, physically, spiritually, and so many other levels. Let's talk about how shame can impact us mentally. All right. Mentally, an example would be believing that I'm not good enough. I'm never going to do this again. I'm never going to try this again. This was the last time. Never again. And I'm never going to ever say the right thing. Everything I do is wrong. It's kind of mentally sabotaging ourselves. And some of us do it more naturally. Some of us, it takes a lot of work and effort to put us in that space and place, but we sadly do it. Sometimes we do it unknowingly. Sometimes we do it on purpose. And mentally, it could be anxiety, phobias, triggers, depression, restlessness, insomnia. The list is endless. And physically, could be how you look. Maybe someone made fun of you for how you look, for what you wear. And therefore, physically, you kind of put yourself in a shell and you withdraw inwardly. You don't think you're thin enough. You think you're too big. You think you're too skinny, too tall, too short, too small. You don't like your hair, the texture of it. The list is endless when it comes to physically. Spiritually, that one's a bit tricky, but would be feeling shame. An example, let me give you an example for me spiritually. Would be that I'm Christian, but in God's eyes, that I'm not good. I'm flawed. There's no way. Why? Why? How? How could you love me? Because that's how bad I am. That's how I see myself. How? I don't understand, God, and I don't deserve your love. Therefore, I am not good. Why did you created me? This is an example, right, of me, but I'm sure others can relate to that specific example. But shame destroys, it kills, it can build us up, it can force us to become something we're not. It can take us places that we are absolutely terrified of. Shame of expectations, of being worthy, shame of being accepted, shame of being liked, shame of not being enough or not fitting in. Brene Brown also says this about shame. Most of us, if not all of us, have built significant parts of our lives around shame. Individuals, families, and communities use shame as a tool to change others and protect themselves. In doing so, we create a society that fails to recognize how much damage shame does to our spirit and to the soul and of our family and of our communities. Shame is a silent epidemic. We do not talk about shame. We experience it, we feel it. We sometimes live with it for an entire lifetime. And it is so true that we don't want to talk about shame. I mean, who wants to talk about heavy stuff that makes them feel like crap, right? We don't. I don't. But I find that when I do so, I hope you do too. When I do so, I find healing, I find freedom and feeling again. And there's just something magical, I believe, and beautiful in the power of expression, being able to express ourselves how we want to, no matter how hard it is. Why don't we want to talk about shame? We avoid it. We avoid it to protect ourselves, to not feel. And it's a safety mechanism, I would say, right? It kind of shield and protects us. And we don't know how to handle things that doesn't make us feel good. Most of us at least. So most of us at least we are unable to handle things or situation that makes us feel icky and not good, and it's uncomfortable, it's intense, and we try to avoid it. And maybe shame for you triggers a wound and it goes so deep that it opens that wound, and that's a wound maybe you've worked on for years or a lifetime to cover and to not have to go back there. Maybe it's something someone said or did or suggested or talked to you about. Maybe that triggered something. And in response to that trigger, your reaction is to pull back and withdraw, right? And it's human, it's normal to feel that way. But let's not lose ourselves in what we ought to be normal. Let's not lose ourselves in normalcy, because if we are hurting, yes, it is natural and normal to hurt, but if the depth and the root and the causes of your suffering is impacting your daily life, what you do, and how you see yourself, then I would say it is definitely a good idea to start reflecting and try to dig a little deep and try to find understanding, not reasoning. I was going to say reasoning, but when we do look for reasoning, we normally tend to find the wrong reasons as to why we're reasoning. But try to understand the root and the causes of what you're feeling and the emotion. Try to find the understanding of that. Okay, so I'm going to be sharing with you the compass of shame, and it was adopted by Nathanson in 1992. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but I find it very interesting and accurate. All right. So when it comes to shame, these are what we do. So we withdraw, we isolate ourselves, and we hide. And when we hide, we go inwardly. We don't trust anyone. We lose faith. We lose hope. And it can trigger depression, anxiety, and many other issues relating to our health, and it can cause a lot of suffering. And the second part is this: we attacked ourselves, we criticize ourselves, we put ourselves down, and at times we can go in a very low and dark place. And I believe that we do criticize ourselves and sabotage ourselves, but and blame ourselves and hate ourselves at times. But I believe it is important to practice self-love, self-compassion, and empathy towards ourselves. Yes, we do that towards other people, but what about ourselves? It is important that we do that. And the third thing that we do is we are in denial, and we avoid facing what it is we need to face. And denial is a way of us to disassociate ourselves. And when we do that, it kind of shield ourselves, like I've been saying, and it causes us to feel numb and be numb. And when we do feel numb, it is a way of us numbing the situation and numbing ourselves from truly feeling what we need to feel. Right? And there is so much strength, I believe, in connecting and accepting what we cannot change, because most of us can't. We truly can't control everything. And we need to accept and embrace that. And the third part here I want to share with you guys is that we attacked others. And when we attack people, it is us responding to something that they activated and caused us to feel that we don't want to feel or don't like to feel. And we also have a very hard time articulate that to them. So therefore, it's their fault for them triggering and causing you pain. Right? And the fourth thing that we do is we fawn and we cling. And when it comes to fawn and clinging, we cling to toxic relationships and things that we should let go of, but we hold on to it. We don't let it go. We don't really resolve it. We kind of ignore it, push it to the back, and pretend it's not there. And we also withdraw. And when we withdraw, we go inward. And it is something that I believe we all do through different phases, right? And circumstances, it depends. But that is our automatic response to shutting the world and people off, is to completely withdraw. Because if we don't, it will result in us having to feel and having to experience really, really bad toxic things that we have ignored and pushed and suppressed for so long. And this is what the participants that Brené Brown interviewed also had to say about shame. Is that shame is that feeling that comes over you like hot wave. And the minute it comes over you, You think to yourself, oh my God, where can I hide? How can I disappear? Shame is the feeling you get when you believe that you're not worthy of anyone caring about you or loving you, that you're such a bad person and you can't even blame others for not caring about you. You just want the floor to swallow you up. Also express this. I just go away. I'm never ugly to people. I just disappear. If someone thinks I'm bad, I'll just make myself invisible so no one has to deal with me. One time I stopped to get gas and my credit card was declined. The guy gave me a really hard time as I pulled out of the station. This is a lady sharing what happened in the study here. She said as she pulled out, her 3-year-old son was in the car and she started to scream at him, "Shut up, shut up, shut up." And I was ashamed about my credit card and I went nuts. Then I was ashamed that I yelled at my son. So I'm going to pause there to put in my intake. This is a situation I think most of us have dealt with or dealt with. Maybe it's not exactly the same, but similar, or maybe you have something that happened to you that kind of is sort of like this, right? As parents, you know, the way we at times talk to children or our kids can um, really be coming from external or internal battles that we're facing in situations. So if that's you, as a parent, as a mom, from my heart to yours, there's nothing wrong with you. You're doing the best that you can. You did what you could do in whatever situations that it may have been, right? And I want to keep sharing what the participant had to share when it comes to this. Why am I sharing all this just from there? Because I believe that it is important. And these are real people, real situations expressing how and what shame does to them, whether it's on a personal level or a physical level. Um, I think we can learn from each other, from what we've been through or what we're currently going through. So the participant also says this: when I feel shame, I'm like a crazy person. I do stuff and say stuff I wouldn't normally never do or say. Also, sometimes I just wish I could make other people feel as bad as I do. I just want to lash out and scream at everyone. The next point here is this: I get desperate when I feel shame, like I have nowhere to turn to, no one to talk to. When I feel shame, I check out mentally and emotionally with even my family. Shame makes me feel estranged from the world. Oh my goodness, these are incredible, impactful, and true and honest and raw responses when it comes to shame. And none of us are immune from shame. All of us face shame, whether it's small shame or big shame, I call it. We all have faced it or continue to face it at some point, right? But know that regardless of the shame you're facing, what you're facing, I can't say that the magnitude of the disaster, of all the damage and things it brought up and caused, is not valuable, because it truly is. Without that experience, you wouldn't have had that experience. It would have been hard to um, maybe grow from it or help people from it, if that makes sense. And I want to say that you're worthy. I don't know whoever you are, wherever you're listening at. You are worthy. You are enough. You don't have to change to be enough. You don't have to achieve a certain degree of perfectionism in certain areas just to be enough. You are enough where you are. You don't need people. You don't need society to tell you who you are, what you are, and what you can be and become. All of that power, it dwells within you, and you know that. At times we do forget it. And when we're in such dark place, it's so hard to see the light. It's so hard to find good things. But regardless, I encourage you to be gentle with yourself and to be gentle with others, because you never know what someone's going through, right? And be easy and love broken people. Love people that are hard to love, right? And reflect inwardly and ask yourself, is what I'm seeing is actually what is, right? What if you look um, through the lens of your own heart and find what it is that is holding you back from moving forward, from finding your soul purpose, from achieving certain things? What is it? And make sure you take time to listen to the small whispers of your soul and listen to those around you, because when someone takes the time, the strength, and the courage out of their bucket, and they choose to trust you with their stories, with their battles, then that is a gift alone that you must choose to treasure. And that is a kind of courage and resilience that is worth celebrating and admiring, I believe. And don't be so quick to judge. Don't be so quick to say this person is exaggerating. I don't believe this. That's not so. Why is so and so this way? Why? What is going on, right? Don't be so quick to come to conclusion when you don't even know the story, let alone the full story. Don't be so quick to put others down, right? I believe, this is what I believe, it costs nothing to be kind. So next time you walk on the street, in the grocery store, wherever you may be at your job, next time you walk by someone that passes and walk by you, if you notice their body language is heavy, and there's sort of a smile but a frown in their face, how much would it cost you to take a minute to ask that person, are you okay? I know you're smiling, but your body language doesn't say that you're okay. And that's how we trigger small blessings and small miracles, is by taking the precious time that we need to acknowledge each other, right? And when we do that, we are not only helping the people in our radius, in our communities, our friends and families, and ourselves, but we are doing something so great, something so powerful that we may not be aware of that we're doing it. And believe it or not, when I say this, I can tell you it is so true. Pain makes you feel vulnerable, and pain changes people. And pain is not a sign of weakness. So if you're hurting and your immediate response is, no, I'm not putting that much suffering, that much crap, or that much sadness. I'm not putting my weight on someone else's shoulders. Yes, we all have different mountains to climb, different battles to fight. None of us are exempt from life's struggles. We all face them, big, small, massive, teeny tiny ones. We all face those battles and struggles. But what if you could just find the ability and the power from within to exchange and share with your community, with people that you're close to? And I know that we all at some point have faced insecurities, which is tied to shame and guilt. We want to be seen, we want to be liked, we want to be heard, we want to be validated in a way that will make us feel good. We want to make sure that people approve of us. And when we failed to do that, then we do take it on so heavy, so hard that it tears us down and apart from what we need to grow, right? And it's not easy to be humiliated, to feel helpless, and to feel pain, right? But as I wrap up this episode, my message to you is this: to find what you're made up of, and to find yourself even when you don't feel like you have the ability or the strength to find you, but you need you. Your family needs you. Your community needs you. Your kids need you. Your partner needs you. And when we find the will to vocalize our struggles, that is when we begin to grow. We cannot grow without harshness, without bad things. I believe sometimes bad things happen for good reasons. Not all bad things, but some things in life will teach you lessons that you wouldn't have learned if it hadn't happened. Some things in life will come easy, some will come hard, and some will knock you on the ground and give you concussions that you're not ready for. Right? So, as I wrap up this episode, I want you to take the words in your heart. Not just listen to them, but see and find where you can apply them. Find how somehow why you relate to some of the things I've shared in this episode. And when you find those things, hold on to them. Not because they feel good, but because they are worthy of growing from. When we look at our scars, not only does it remind us of the battles that we got them from, of the battles that we fought, but it is a significant sign that we have survived. We have survived. We have overcome. We continue to survive and thrive and grow. So listen to your heart. Listen to its melodies. Listen to what it has to say. And listen to your soul, to your spirit. Listen to yourself. And in return, I hope growth is on your side. I hope love finds you. I hope faith resonates with you. And I hope you continue your healing journey in this lifetime. That's my wish for you, my beautiful friend. All right, you guys. That is a wrap for this episode. As you can see, I have so much to say. Tune in next week on Wednesday to listen to part 2 of this series and what I have to say. Until next time, my beautiful friends, I wish you so much love, so much light, so much peace.